Hello, my name is Martin Holland, and thank you for enrolling in my course on European integration from community to union. Unfortunately, on this first day of class, Monday, 14th of July, I am not able to be in Christchurch, so I'm going to make this recording to go through the course outline with you, to explain what the course is trying to achieve, and also there will be one of my colleagues in the room with you handing out the course outline and following up on any questions you have. So thank you for this indulgence. First of all, as you probably know, this course is double coded and at 2 levels. So it's coded as a European Union Studies course at both the 200 and 300 level, Euro 210, Euro 310, as well as a Geography 300 paper, Geog 321. We will meet together, irrespective of how you're enrolled, for the whole semester. But as I go through this handout, you'll see that the requirements for 200 as opposed to 300 level students are quite different. So please make sure you complete the right requirements for your enrolment. The course, if you turn to page 3 of the handout, sorry, page 1, it's numbered page 1, but it's the 3rd page of the handout, tries to explain that the course is interdisciplinary and incredibly diverse, and tries to encapsulate the study of the European Union in a very compact way. So we will touch on a whole range of topics, of theories, of disciplinary approaches, and I would expect you, as students, depending upon your own backgrounds, to focus on certain elements rather than others. So the course is very flexible in meeting what interests you have. So if you come from a particular background, might be politics, might be history, might be geography, you might want to follow that path within what I say according to your interests. As you can see from page 1 under About the module, we will be looking at the historical development to begin with, the geographical definition of the European Union, through the enlargement process, which is highly controversial, I would say, still. We'll be looking at the institutional structures that are important for developing policy. And the policies will be the supranational policies, the policies common to the European Union, not of individual member states. And there, particularly, you may have a great interest in Europe's common approach to climate change, to environmental sustainability, and recently, literally in the last month, an attempt to have a common energy policy in the wake of the Russian Crimea problem. So there are lots of different policy areas. There's also agriculture we look at, foreign policy, security, monetary union, a whole range that I will try to introduce you to, and then when we get further into the course, we will be able to specialize in the ways that you like. I'm the director of the NCRE, which you'll find on level 4 of the Logie building, and our philosophy is a very simple one. It's open door philosophy. You pay your fees, we're here to serve you. So although you'll see I will have some specific contact hours at the bottom of page 1, pretty much whenever I'm here, my door will be literally open, and if you wish to see me, please come and do so, or just send me an email for an appointment. This should be an interactive course, I hope. We're relatively small. We're going to be between 20 and 25 students, and that should get a good opportunity for you to get actually one-on-one teaching, something that I'm afraid is rather too rare at Canterbury. If you turn over to page 2, you'll see there, right at the top, a library tour. And again, this, you might go, oh, I've had many library tours in my career at Canterbury, but this is particularly tailored for our EU collection. And the University of Canterbury is New Zealand's only official documentation centre. So anything that is produced by the European Commission, the European Council, the European Parliament, Court of Justice, any of the institutions of the European Union, you will be able to access that material through Canterbury. Hard copy for older documents and online copy for more contemporary ones. In addition to that, we actually have a librarian who is responsible for all of those documents and is a great source of information. And that person, Jeanette Nicol and her team, may become your best friends, because they really do look forward to helping you find research topics, finding literature, working your way through what will be an enormous amount of information about the European Union. So the library has set up an EU portal that you will hopefully become very familiar with, that will lead you into this labyrinth of EU documentation and lead you to the easiest and best sources. In order to facilitate that, on Wednesday, the first Wednesday of class, from the 9 till 10 o'clock period, there is a EU library seminar to introduce you to that facility. So please all go to level 2, the den in the main library on Wednesday, where you will be led through the EU portal information. The library will have a copy of this course outline, so they will see the sorts of topics we're going to be discussing in essays and in seminars, and they will tailor the presentation to make it directly relevant to what we're doing in this course. So hopefully that everybody can attend that. I think it's really essential. Now, going to the assessment mechanisms, which again are on page 2 and page 3. If I can speak first just about those of you enrolled in the 200 level paper, Euro 210. As you can see there are 3 bullet points with assessment. First of all, you have to write 2 essays, each worth 40%, 2,000 words. And the deadlines for those are set down, as you can see, also on that page, Monday the 1st of September, which is after the mid-year break, and Friday the 4th of October, which is after the end of the semester. In addition to that, attendance and participation in the seminars that will take place in the last term. So after the August-September break, we have a series of seminars, and as 200 level students, you're not going to be making a presentation, but I do expect you to attend and participate. And then the third element, which is a new element, which we've never used before, the so-called Ask the Professor participation. This will be, again, virtual, each week in the term 3, so during this period, July and August, I will be giving a 5-minute discussion around a theme, a question that we'll be discussing in the lectures that week, and second year students or 200 level students will be asked to reply to an online forum giving your views and thoughts on those ideas. So you can see the summary of the grade, the essay is 40% each, and then the Ask the Professor and the seminar participation 10% each. So no exam, all internal submission. As is the case, I would hope, in all your courses, everything has to be submitted via Learn and via Turnitin. So no hard copies, all electronic copies through that mechanism of Learn. Now, if I turn to the 300 level enrolment, so that's Euro 310 students and Geog 321 students, your assessment is 2 essays again, but these are slightly longer, 2,500 words, and they're worth slightly less, 30% of your final grade. In addition, you have to present 1 seminar, and that will be after the August-September break in term 4. And that's a presentation using PowerPoint and discussion, as well as a 2,000-word essay of that presentation. We'll go into some of those details further on in this course outline. The third element that's worth 10% of your grade is seminar participation and attendance. So again, as you can see from page 3, essays both 30%, the seminar presentation as well as the written assignment 30%, and then participation and attendance in the seminars 10%. Again, the submission dates are the same as for the essay of the 200 level papers. So the first essay on the 1st of September, Monday the 1st of September, which is the middle Monday of that 2-week break we have between term 3 and term 4, and then the 24th of October, the Friday after the end of term. So hopefully those you can plan into your diaries now, and there aren't too many clashes. For the seminar assignments, as it says at the bottom, this will depend upon when you are scheduled during the 4th term, which week you will be giving your presentation. But the simple rule is apply to everybody. a week after you give the verbal PowerPoint presentation, you submit the 2,000-word essay on that presentation. The reason for that is I want you to benefit from the questions and the debate that your presentation will hopefully encourage others to make contributions. So you can use the discussion in class, incorporate it in your essay, therefore getting a better grade. Hopefully that is clear, and again, obviously submission all through Turnitin via Learn. Now, on the second half of page 4, again, this is for 200 and 300 level students, so everybody in the class. There is a list of 10 essay questions. This is for the first essay, and I've tried to give these as broad as possible, and obviously they focus on the lectures that I will be giving during the first term of this second semester. And you'll see some of them are conceptual, about theories, some of them are much more up-to-date, if you like, about Euroscepticism and the European Parliament elections of May of this year. Look at those, think about them, and we can talk about them during the class, during the coming weeks, before you decide which essay you want to answer. For the second essay, and again this applies to everybody, all students, this is the same. Here you get to write your own question. That might sound like a good idea. I can assure you it's quite a difficult idea, because you need to write a question, not just have a topic or a theme, but an actual question that you can analyse. So I will certainly be discussing with you individually what that question might be. And here the focus is slightly different. The first essay is a normal academic essay using literature, journals, books. The second essay I want to be very much online, very much now. So the sources should be very contemporary rather than academic journals, which by definition are always going to be a little bit behind reality. So the sources and the way you write that second essay, I want it to be focused on online resources, and I'll give you some better guidance nearer the time, because it says there at the top of page 5, there are certain sources such as Agence Europe, Open Europe or EU Observer that are incredibly rich and easily accessible online daily news events, keeping you in touch with what's happening in the European Union. Similarly, page 5 there talks about the seminar presentations for the 300 level students, Euro 310 and Geography 321. You will have for your presentation 30 minutes in total, and in that 30 minutes you have to make the presentation using PowerPoint and then have time for Q&A. And I'm suggesting that you should talk for no more than 20 minutes, leaving 10 minutes for questions. If you want to do it 15 and 15, that's up to you, but I was suggesting a 20-10 division would be useful. Handouts can be used, and if you need to use handouts, then at least come and see me or my administrative staff beforehand, not the very morning, and we can reproduce those free of charge for you. But you should be using a PowerPoint to make your presentations. And again, there's just technical things there. For the written assignment, it's like an essay in terms of referencing and everything else. For everybody else who's not making the presentation for these seminars, please read 2 of the core readings, and the bulk of this handout has readings attached to it that are all accessible at Canterbury. So please make sure you don't just come to the presentations, but come with some knowledge and background so we can have a very interesting discussion. And again, at the bottom of this 5th page, you'll see underlined there what I want us to do today, after the end of my video, when my colleague from the NCRE will be there to help you. I want you to indicate which of the presentations you might want to do in your seminars. There's a whole list that we'll be going through, a whole range of things, and I'd like you to indicate 3 choices, first, second, third choice, of a topic that you would want to present on during the 4th term of this second semester course. More about that later. So, if you turn the page, it is those are those topics that I've just mentioned for the seminar's presentation, seminar discussion topics. As you can see, there's 18 listed, but several of them, number 15, number 16, number 17, have a lot of sub-questions. So overall, there's more than 30 different topics there that we might want to discuss. So as I've just mentioned, what I want us to do by the end of this first session today is for you to have filled out a form indicating your 3 choices of topics that you would be interested in presenting. You'll only have to do one, but if you give me a list of 3, then hopefully I can make sure that you get something that you're really interested in. Also, I should add, if there is a topic that you really, really want to do that isn't covered here, and you can persuade me this is related to the European integration process, then we can incorporate that as well. So if you do have some specific interests, we could try to accommodate that. But page 6 is the topics that I want you to think about today and let me, through my colleagues at the NCRE, know your preferences. Then you have from 7 and 8 just some tips on essay writing. These may or may not be necessary, but hopefully it'll give you a clear indication of when I read an essay and try to assess an essay, how I'm thinking and what I'm looking for. So you might want to read that in some depth. Page 9 is the lecture seminar structure. If past experience is anything to go by, I won't keep to the lecture structure. It's an aspiration rather than a probable reality. But as you can see, we will be meeting twice a week, on Mondays for 2 sessions and Wednesdays for 1 session for the first term, term 3, for 6 weeks. And we'll try to go through these topics of the nature of integration, the current state, institutions, policies, theory, enlargement as listed there. I'll try to keep as close as I can to that schedule. Then after the break is our seminars. This is where you make 300 level students, you make your presentations. And again, we will have meetings just on the Mondays, given the size of the class. If the class grows, then we will also have to meet on an additional day. But based upon the numbers at the moment, we can do all of the seminar presentations on the 6 Mondays of the 4th term, which is 3 people per 2-hour session, 30 minutes each. And again, depending upon the topic you choose to present, I will identify and allocate a specific week for you to present. And again, I'll do this as soon as I can once I know your preferences. Over the page, on page 10, just some advertising, I guess. Every Friday, the National Centre for Research on Europe has a research seminar at 2 o'clock in Logi 104, which is now renamed the Solidarity Room, after the Polish protest movement Solidarity. You are invited to attend these, participate in these, benefit from these. It's not obligatory, but I think it would be very, very useful because we have an interesting mix of presenters. Might be PhD or MA students from our centre. It will be academic staff either here or visiting from overseas. And quite frequently we will have European ambassadors from the member states as well as from the EU delegation presenting topics. So I think it's a really great opportunity to engage in real European integration. Then the reading lists begin on page 10. Suggested texts, not to buy, no need to buy these things, but they are all in the library, and library policy is if multiple people demand these texts, they will go on short loan. I've given you a whole range to choose from. I think the basic rule should be when reading things about the European Union, try to avoid things that are rather dated. So anything before 2007 may not be a good thing to read because so much has changed, and anything after 2009-10 would be my preference. So look for latest editions of some of these texts which may be out. There have been significant changes in how the EU organises itself since 2009, and you should bear that in mind. Similarly, over on page 11 you'll see I put down some of the key journals that are available at Canterbury, either hard copy or online versions. These will, again, give you great contemporary insights in the last 2 or 3 years at least of interesting research themes, questions. So yes, the texts are important for a basic understanding, but if you want more of the leading research questions and puzzles of European integration, please use these journals. Probably the most famous is the Journal of Common Market Studies. We're going to get a lot of excellent articles there, and the Journal of European Public Policy. Those would be the 2 best international journals, but the others are also very good. Bottom of page 11 again says web resources. This will be explained to you by the librarian on Wednesday when you go on the library tour. And then another whole list of books and journals, the documentation, observer, internet sources, etc. And then from page 12 onwards, you'll see the reading list. This is not exhaustive, but this is an indicative reading list broken down under subheadings. So a reading list that relates to member states, again, where I've given 2 core readings, for example, there on page 12. You can see those 2 core readings. This is the readings I want everyone to do before coming to this presentations. The wider reading list is for the person making the presentation. Then you can see it goes on to reform, development policy, Lomé Convention, core readings, common agricultural policy, environmental policy, citizenship and immigration, economic and monetary union, enlargement, neighbourhood policy, foreign policy, security policy. So right through to page 20, an initial reading list of topics there. I will be handing out a separate, much more comprehensive reading list for you in person next week. But to begin with, this is a good beginning. Excuse me. Then if you look on pages 21 and 22, here you will see how I think when I grade you. So on page 21 you have evaluation criteria for writing essays. And those descriptors there try to tell you if you want to get an A+ to A minus essay, these are the types of informations and arguments that I am looking for to convince me that this is an A quality piece of work. Similarly, if you want a B quality or C quality and D, what things to avoid, this hopefully will give you a guide when you're writing your essays as to whether you're meeting the academic standards for certain grades. So this is what guides my judgment. Similarly, on page 22, here we have the idea of how do we gauge presentations, oral presentations of the seminar for our 300 level students. And again, this tries to give you a roadmap. So read that and then make sure that your presentation addresses these points in terms of clarity, in terms of pace, in terms of structure, style, presentation. Remember, a presentation on PowerPoint should not just be a massive accumulation of facts, quite the opposite. It should be provocative. It should give big ideas, words, images, rather than text after text after text. So read that if you want to make a good presentation. And then similarly, on pages 23, 24, this will be appended to your essays, so I will give you feedback according to these criteria: theory, use, quality of analysis, empirical examples, English, and by English I mean New Zealand spellings, not American spellings, please, format, referencing. Format and referencing might be tedious, but it's very important. And if you've never used EndNote, now is the time to learn how to use EndNote. It will make your life very, very easy. Okay, so that's almost the end. On the last page of this handout, page 26, you will see here this game. This is just for the 300 level students, Euro 310 and Geog 321. This is the page where I want you to put your name, so I know who you are, and list your first, second and third choice for the seminar topics you want to deliver in the 4th term from September onwards on those presentation topics. And to remind you, the topics we're talking about if we go all the way back, are those on page 6, those 18 topics on page 6. So what I would like you to do now, possibly for the next 10 minutes or so, is read those topics and give your indications, 1, 2 or 3 of your choices, and then hand those in, and then when I get them tomorrow, I will try to see whether we have a consensus, so we cover as many topics as possible, and as far as possible it will be good if we don't have anyone duplicating the topic, so each one should be discrete with just one presentation. To remind you, as I've suggested before, topics 14, 15, 16 and 17 have multiple choices. So if, for example, you choose to do question 14, tell me whether it's 14A Russia, 14B USA, 14C China, or 14D Asia that you want to talk about. So we could actually have 4 presentations on looking at relations between Europe and those 4 regions. Hopefully that's fairly self-explanatory. So that's the thing I would like you to fill out, rip off, and hand in to my colleague who's in the room. After that, I have nothing else to add. You may want to ask some direct questions to Genevieve, who's there, and I'm sure she'll be able to resolve those. Otherwise, if you want instant feedback, please email me. The email address is on the front cover here, martin.holland@canterbury.ac.nz. I will be online, albeit a few hours behind New Zealand for the next day or so. But if you want to email me, please do, and I can address any questions that you have. The key to success in this course is discussion, is debate. European integration is far from perfect. It is challenging. It is facing questions, hard questions about its longevity, about its legitimacy, about its effectiveness, about its success. So I want us to be very critical, but I want us to be knowledgeable and informed. So it's very important to grasp what the European integration process is trying to achieve, what is European integration, and how has that been expressed since 1950. Thank you very much, and don't forget to go, please, to the EU Library Tour on Wednesday from 9 to 10, level 2, in the den of the main library. Good luck.